Well, friends, they have chosen their path. And this epic battle between the globalists and the rest of us, the elites, so to speak, and the rest of us, we've taken an upper hand in some places. We have Donald Trump in the United States. We have the Republicans, some of them on our side. We got other countries. We see more and more people are rising up and saying, you know, we're not on board with what you guys are doing. Down in Brazil, we see a strong movement, even though the government is still kind of keeping the people down. In Argentina, the people have risen up. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, how are they responding to these defeats that we are dealing them? Are they going to go back undercover? Are they going to go back into the realms of shadows and cloaks and dagger to hide and wait for the next opportune moment to rise again and to catch us all by surprise? Or are they going to try to just brute force their way through this? Are they going to try to destroy everything that we try to do? Are they going to try to openly resist us and not be secretive about themselves at all and just be like, we're trying to oppress you and trying to keep you locked up in cages? Well, we found out, at least in the United States, that they are going to just try to openly oppose us. We just had the Democratic National Committee's new chairman selected and the vice chairman selected, and we can learn some things from this for sure. One thing is that they did decide to move away from the candidate that the establishmentarian folks have chosen. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer put out a guy, and they chose not to go that direction. So some of the billionaires were kind of backing that guy too, and they decided to pick someone who didn't like any more change, who says that their messaging right now is right where it should be. But more telling is who they chose for vice chair. David Hogg, the every town, basically the gun grabbers, right? He's all about taking away everyone's Second Amendment rights for kicks, I guess. I can't even assume, I can't imagine that he actually believes what he's saying anymore, because, I mean, it's just so insane. So against everything that evidence would show. So we're going to talk about Chuck Schumer. We're going to talk about the UK. They're going to try to take all the farmland. It's absolutely insane. We're going to talk about these tariffs, Canada and Mexico. We're going to see how Canada and Mexico have both decided that they're going to fight because they're part of the deep state globalist agenda, and they are very much still in the pockets of all those folks, the Davos crowd, the WEFers, WEF. And we're going to see how insane it is. They're trying to resist the tariffs. All right, let's go back here to David Hogg. So even what he said, we saw that David Hogg was basically just saying that we need to resist and fight, and he didn't really say anything. He wasn't like, we need to change these things. This is what we need to do differently. This is some of the tactical things that we need to change. We need to change this type of program. We need to change up our fundraising. We need to change up this and that. No, he's just like, we just need to fight. We need to knock them hard. And it's just like, he's just giving some sort of football rally speech or something. And when we really see the folks that were running for the chairman of the DNC, very much the same kind of thing. When they were asked, raise your hand if you believe that the only reason that the Democrats lost in 2024 was due to racism and misogyny. All of them raised their hand. That was the major reason why they lost, was because of racist. Now it's interesting because basically you just saw just like on stage is just basically all white old men, which is just kind of like, huh. All our candidates seem to be white old men, and yet they all seem to think it was racism that defeated. Biden was the candidate before, and he was polling extremely badly because of racism, apparently. That's not exactly why you lost. You know, the vast majority of Americans didn't vote against you because of that. They voted against you because you're like completely out of touch with the American people. And yet the DNC has decided that they're going to stick their heads in the sand and try to breathe for a while. So good luck with that. I'm glad their choices have solidified Republican control for a good number of years. Now, one of the things that's going to happen soon is within the Republican Party, we have the rhinos, the Republicans in name only, and we now have the MAGA Republicans. And there's going to be a fight sooner or later, like a real fight. Right now, I think both sides are kind of like, hey, it's kind of cool to have a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and a Republican president. That makes us all feel a little warm and squishy. But more and more, we're starting to have the conversation of what direction should we be going in? Whereas the American people were like, Donald Trump's direction. What Donald Trump says, that's what we want to do. We want to get rid of the fraud and abuse and the scandals and all the massive government spending that doesn't benefit us at all. We need to get rid of all that. We need to rein in the bureaucrats. We need to have a powerful military. And there's these rhinos who are like, wait a minute, don't rock the boat. Our gravy train is going pretty good here. Like, we don't want you to stop what we're doing. And we got people like Mitch McConnell out there who are just like, let's not get crazy. Let's not fire the bureaucrats. Let's not stop all the money flowing to other countries and other places. Let's go middle of the road. Let's basically do the same thing we've been doing, but like say we're going to do something different. Let's not do something different. Let's just say we're going to do something different. And so you get the rhinos who are basically Democrats, leftists in spirit, or at least not as leftist as those leftists, But how different really are they? So the Republicans are going to have to clean house themselves. There's going to have to be a purge within the Republican Party, or there's going to have to be a party split. And the only way that a party split's going to work in the U.S. system is if the Democrats get destroyed so badly that they are no longer relevant. Because you can't have three parties, really. I don't think that would really work very well. So we're going to see how things play out, but there's going to be a civil war within the Republican Party sooner or later. Hopefully there's a civil war within the Democrats too, but all right, let's go over to Chuck Schumer in the Senate. He is now under investigation for threatening Supreme Court justices. Back when the Roe v. Wade was being re-examined, he stood out on the steps of the Supreme Court and openly threatened two of the justices of the Supreme Court that if they voted the wrong way, that he and they would come after them. And the language was not unclear. It was, you won't see it coming, we're just going to take you out, basically. That is language that should not be coming out of any American's mouth, let alone a leading member of the U.S. Senate. Because it was said while Biden was in office, The Biden Justice Department did not pursue any kind of charges against him, but there's a new sheriff in town. Charges are being brought against Chuck Schumer, and an investigation has been opened onto whether or not he should be arrested for those statements. Moving over to the UK. The UK government is reporting that 10% of the UK farmland needs to be rewilded to keep in line with their green agenda targets. They need to take 10% of all the farmland in England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, all of the UK. They're going to take 10% of that and send it back to being just trees or, plains or whatever, but not growing food anymore. 10% less food grown by the UK. Now, the UK already has to import food from other places, but this is the kind of stuff that caused a revolution, a political revolution, a peaceful, mostly peaceful revolution. There were some incidents with tractors spraying fertilizer on government buildings in the Netherlands. But in the Netherlands, they were like, no, we're done with this. You're going to stop. You're going to leave office. We're going to get in there and we're going to put a complete end to this. But now they're trying to do it in the UK because apparently the globalists and these people haven't learned their lessons. They haven't learned that when you go after the farmers push back. We'll see what happens in the UK next, but we did just cover a 150,000 person rally, freedom rally, in almost freezing temperatures. 150,000 people in London, knowing that they could be prosecuted. They could, that the police could go after them for making Facebook posts about such a protest. 150,000 people still showed up. If we had another J6 type rally, how many Americans would show up? Knowing that you could be prosecuted and, hit with the same kind of conditions that happened last time. And yet, people in the UK, not just braving the cold, but braving their government and the tyranny there, showed up. Hats off to you guys. Hats off to you guys. And we will definitely cover that as best we can and what's going on in the UK, because we know that our folks over in the UK cannot, by law, cover these things. This guy can't fly through London for fear of getting arrested. I was previously this fall planning on doing some backpacking in Scotland. Had to cancel that. Why? Because I was fearing that I would end up in a prison cell. Because that's what the UK government said they would do to people who posted videos of those protests, which this guy did. So, cuff me. Or more accurately, I ain't going to your country. So you're going to have to extradite me from wherever I happen to be at the time. Okay? All right, so we got these tariffs going on Canada and Mexico. And now, Canada and Mexico got tariffs put on them, and China did as well. China had an interesting reaction to it. They did nothing. Now, we see what China's plan is to do. They have set up trade talks with Donald Trump. China has accurately seen this as this is Donald Trump's way of forcing everybody to the table. We're going to sit down and we're going to hammer out a negotiation and a deal. That's China's response. We see that America feels like they have some sort of grievance against us, so we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about it. Canada, not so much. Canada is like, we're going to slap 25% tariffs on $107 billion worth of U.S. exports to Canada. Trump just hit Canada with 25% tariffs on $481 billion worth of exports from Canada to the United States. Which one's going to hurt a little more? Well, since the fact is that we're hitting them for almost 5 times the effect of what they're going to hit us at, a way to show you weak hand. You know, if you're going to threaten somebody, don't threaten to do 20% of what they just did to you. Because what that really encourages them to do is just to keep going further. And that's exactly what Donald Trump's going to do. Inside the tariffs was, if you launch punitive tariffs back at us, we will just escalate the tariffs. So when the tariffs go into effect, well, as they've gone into effect today, we expect to see Donald Trump to escalate the tariffs further against Canada. Now, Mexico seems like they're going to do the same thing as Canada, but they haven't actually laid out what they're going to do yet. The Mexican president, a lady down there, extreme leftist liberal person, she said, Trump better not do that, and I don't think he's going to do that. He's just bluffing. We have plans A, B, and C that we can go back at him with. We're prepared. Okay, well, we haven't heard A or B or C yet, but I'm sure she's got stuff that she's going to do. You know, they're going to stand on the border and play banjos at us or something. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but the Mexican president, she's very, very sure that they're going to hit us back hard. Let me just leave you with this, though. 80% of Mexican exports to every country in the world, 80% of them come to one country, the United States of America. And all 80% of them have just been tariffed, 25%. And to give you another idea here, 43% of the entire Mexican economy is exporting stuff. 43% of it. So, my crude math, almost 35% of the Mexican economy just got tariffed by 25%. Mexico has been thrown over the barrel and they're getting paddled. And they're thinking that they can throw the United States over the barrel somehow. And this is where we are. The globalists, the elites, they think they have all the power in the world. And while we're confused and not working together, they kind of do because they're focused. But when people start doing the math and going, there's only a few of them and there's a whole lot of us, you realize that we really have all the power. Oh, you got the money. That's cute. But you know what? We can just take your stuff. There's a lot of us and we can just take your stuff. And historically, that happens every so often. When the elites get a little too comfortable, in France, before the revolution, they were like, they were living such wonderful lives and most of the French people were not. And the French people are just like, you know what? We're just going to take your stuff. And we're going to put you all under guillotines and, you can't stop us. And that's exactly what happened. When the mobs get riled up enough, they just you realize that the only reason why these people have mansions is because we all agree that those mansions belong to them. When we, the people, decide that those mansions don't belong to them, suddenly they don't have mansions anymore. And the Mexican economy doing battle against the U.S. economy is really kind of a joke. The Canadian economy doing battle, the Texas economy is larger than the economy of Canada. So if they want to do that, Well, good luck to them. The globalists are on the run, and they are, instead of slinking away and living to fight another day, they are deciding that they want to do full-scale battle with us. The bureaucrats inside the government, the countries that are still under the sway of the globalists, everywhere we're seeing that they're standing up and trying to fight face to face. And it's not going to go well for them. Thank goodness. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.